Our guest speaker today doesn't need an introduction, but we're going to introduce him anyway. He is a man, a single father. He's a great leader in the San Diego area. He does a great call. Matter of fact, he did one of the most memorable calls I can think of this year for us. It was the 11th of the month on Tuesday. If you haven't seen it, go back and look at it. It was something that ACN need to put out to everybody. I thought it was so powerful. And today he's back with us. It's our last call for the month of January, but never profound, always profound. But I want him to introduce you guys to the great Mr. Julian Lewis, Regional Director out of San Diego area. Without further ado, can we give him a warm organization love and clap for Mr. Julian Lewis.
Good morning. Good morning. I like that necklace, sir. That's pretty dope. I like that right there. That's clean. Anyway, guys, before I get started, I just want to give it back to Mr. Thomas. Let all of you know. I mean, I'm blessed. I get to be a part of his organization, and the things that he shared with me just in random conversation. You got to be careful because he'll hit you with some gems in random conversation, and if you're not ready for it, you can lose that. So if you get a chance to talk to Mr. Thomas, make sure you have a notepad or something that you can keep what he says and he shares, because for him, it's just conversational, but for you, it could be a whole training for the year. And so I'm very grateful for everything that you do from myself, my team, and the organization, and ACN in general. So thank you so much, sir, and allowing me to be on this platform to share with everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this morning because, I was thinking about a few things just in general about myself and how I'm able to do certain things in the business, how I'm able to do certain things in my life. I was talking to Marie yesterday about some of the reasons why I'm able to focus, and I can have multiple projects going, but I tend to have a laser beam focus. And then I touched base with my friend, good friend, Mr. Brian Baker, and we were talking about qualifications, and then I was thinking about I was just thinking about a lot of things, and I realized that when it's game on, and Mr. Baker, you could understand this, knowing that you played sports as well. When it's game on, there's a certain routine that you have, and that routine on game day allows you to completely let go of everything in your normal life and only focus on the main thing. Any of you that have played sports, especially team sports, I know Marie, you played volleyball, you guys had a routine where on game day, it was like a ritual. You did certain things at certain times. And what it allows you to do, it allows you, even as a kid, to not think about home life, to not think about school life, but it allowed you to focus 100% and be in the zone. And what I realize is a lot of people don't have that focus when it comes to ACN. As adults, we forget. We think sometimes those type of rituals or routines are only for sports. But what those things taught me is how to clear my mind of crap that doesn't need to be there, and gain a clarity that I would not have if all that crap was in my mind. And so I don't have to do it now, but when I was younger, I had to write out the things that were the things that were in my mind that I was focused on, that was making life overwhelming when I was younger. And that was a way of purging all the crap. And so what I want to do is I want to show you a quick, a short video with Mel Robbins, because she actually shows you how to do this. So especially if you're the type of person that always, and you know who you are. So if you always overthink, you always have a way too much information that you're thinking about, or maybe you overshare, or all kinds of things that you might be doing when it comes to thoughts, thinking, and focus, take a look at this video, because this will help. And then after the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do why we're so great at qualifications, and how any of you can get great at it too. So if you take a look at this video, let me bring it up. so it's Mel Robbins, you guys. And she really breaks this down in a
So
great
when you
way.
feel overwhelmed, what I know about you is that your brain is full of a bunch of garbage. I am going to disappear overwhelm using a simple pitcher, mason jar, and a garden variety spiral notebook. I know. I'm not kidding. I'm actually going to disappear overwhelm. Overwhelm is something that you want to fight, because if you allow yourself to stay in a state of feeling overwhelmed by the amount of things that you have to do, that pressure and that uncertainty combined with this feeling that you can't get anything done is going to create anxiety in your life. It's going to impact not only your well-being, but it's also going to severely limit your ability to focus and get things done. So the most important thing with overwhelm is to understand what it is and a simple tool that you can use to get rid of it. So here's what we're gonna do. So let's pretend that this right here, this empty mason jar, is your brain. In order to do your best thinking, you need to make sure that you've got the full capacity of your brain leveraged and pointed at the things that are important to you. Here's the problem. When you go through life, as you go through life, what happens is, your brain starts to fill up with information, and that's what creates a state of feeling overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed is nothing more than having a full brain. So as you go through your day-to-day life and you start checking email and looking at texts and looking at Facebook and sitting in meetings and flipping through television channels and sending emails and writing Excel spreadsheets and running and picking up the kids at work and getting another text and looking at Instagram and looking at Twitter and checking out the news, your brain gets pretty full, doesn't it? And so when you feel overwhelmed, what I know about you is that your brain is full of a bunch of garbage. And so, I didn't think about the drain draining. I hope that's not bothering you, but it's certainly going to bother me. What you need to do in order to fight overwhelm is you've got to actually do a brain dump. You got to get rid of all that stuff so that you've got an empty brain so you can focus again. So how do you do that? It's easy to do with a cup of water because you just pour it out. This is what you're going to do. You are literally going to dump out everything that's in your head onto this piece of paper. Every concern, every worry, every to-do, everything that's bothering you, that you're thinking about, you're going to write down. All right, and when you're done writing down everything that's in your head and there's absolutely nothing left, got something due tomorrow that I kind of forgot about. Once you get that stuff all down on a piece of paper, pull out a highlighter. Take a look. You could do everything on this list. You could. But what should you do? What are 3 things, just 3, that you should do in order to advance the things that matter to you? Let's see. I got to do that one. I got to do that one. And I got to do that one. The rest of this list is complete and utter garbage. It's other people's stuff. It's the email stuff. It's the meeting stuff. It's the stuff that's not all that important to me. It's not that mission critical. So by dumping everything out, I now not only have the 3 things I need to do, I've got a clear head so I can get it done.
Right. So I know that was really quick, but it's extremely powerful. It's something that I do on a regular basis. It's something that it has become so natural and normal to me. I don't even allow extra information that's not important to go into my brain. And I always share this because sometimes people will give me information. I'm like, whoa, time out. Don't need it. I don't need it. Mr. Thomas, you know as well as I do when we're talking. So and I'll give you guys an example. I'll have my team give me info about their guests. Okay. Before our events. And here's what I say. I say, here's all I need. I need to know if they're married or single, if they have kids, where and what they do for a living, right? That's it. That's all I need to know. All I need to know. My team, especially if they're new, oh yes, they'll give me a book. They'll give me a book. Exactly. All this stuff here, they do this, here are their accolades. They when they were 5 years old, they won some I don't know, recognition for being the best 5-year-old in the world. Like, I don't need to know all of that. and the reason why I've been able to become so efficient is because you might want to write this down. You want to learn what is important and what isn't, and only do what's important. My dad, I've shared this before. My dad used to tell my brother and I remember the first time he told me this, it hit me hard. He said, you only have about 80 summers. You only have about 80 summers. And I'm like, that's not a lot. When you realize that you have not, when you realize your time is extremely limited, don't we decide to do the important stuff? Isn't it true? Like, if you only have a certain amount of time to be at the grocery store, you only have a certain amount of time because you have a million things you need to do. You don't mess around. You only get the things you absolutely need and you're out of there. But when you feel like you have all the time in the world, what do? You're up and down aisles you never would go in. You're looking at foods and thinking, that might taste good. You have stuff in your cart that shouldn't be there. If you're doing it and you think you have all the time in the world and you're hungry, you wind up bringing stuff home that you would never eat. It's because you're focused on everything. And so most people are overwhelmed in ACN. Here's why. Because they're focused on all the crap that doesn't matter. And they're not focused on the things that do. And it's apparent because even some of the smarter people, some of the more intelligent people that I've coached, I'll say, hey, just focus on this right here, these 3 things. And they'll look at me like, oh, those things are too simple to focus on. He must think I don't know how to do the business. I'm going to focus on all of these elaborate things over here. And they fail miserably every single time. Because it's not those things. It's not the things you think they are. It's the things that your mentor is sharing with you. So what does that mean? I'm going to talk to you guys. You guys want to know how to get 95 to 100% qualifications? Does anybody want to know how to do that? Okay. First of all, I need to share something big with you as leaders, because I didn't hear anybody take this away from Mr. Steve Payton. And I need to mention this. I need to re-mention this, Mr. Thomas, because this was so powerful. And I didn't hear anybody mention this. When Mr. Steve Payton said, if you can go out and get customers, that's great, but you're not really impacting people. Why did you get involved in ACN? To serve people as well? You're going to impact people. It's about doing what? Bringing them into the business. The only person, when you get somebody as a customer, you save them some money. Yeah, that's great. But who are you really impacting other than your own life? And a lot of times people don't think about that. And I thought that was extremely important. And I didn't want anybody to miss that. So we're going to talk about how to qualify, how to get people the results and to focus on the right things. Well, for our team, qualifications start with this right here. Take a look at what I'm bringing up. Starts with this. My first mentor, Mr. Nakota Bragg, he said to me, he said, Julian, I remember this is before I was an ETT. And some of you that are new, you don't even know what that means. But I was what's called an ETT. Before that, he said to me, he looked at me, we were driving in Mission Valley, and we were getting on the freeway on what's called, it's this Texas Street. It's this area over there. I'll never forget, because he told me, he looked at me and he said, you're training people from the moment you say hello. You're training people I'll never forget that. And the reason why that's so important, you guys want to know why that's so important? I'm not convinced. Do you guys want to know why that's so important and why it stayed with me? Because some people talk just to run their mouth for no reason. For no reason. You're just talking. Stop talking. Just stop. Most people don't join because they don't have enough information. Most people join because you killed them with too much information. You're oversharing. Stop it. Okay, just stop it. So this is how we do it. It's a process. We're training. So when we're presenting, at the end of the presentation, Mr. Evans, I share with people, I say, you know, here's the steps. This is our onboarding process. This is what I say. We have an onboarding process. Why do I use the word onboarding? Because every few years, we refresh the language we use to get people up and running in whatever systems we have. It's just what it is. Like back in the 80s, people would get invited to a seminar. You say seminar in the 90s, that's a curse word. Okay, so it changes. So you just need to update as people update. That's how it is. I know that's how it is in our community, Sam Foster. If I were to look at Sam and I would say, hey, I need you to tell me what's really going on, no cap. Sam will be like, oh, he means no lie. Some of you are like, what are you talking about? Well, men, sometimes they go through what's called male pattern baldness, right? And in order to look young, they put a hat on. And so no cap means no lie. What do you look like underneath there? And some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's insane, crazy. But that's what I'm saying. You have to update your vocabulary, right? You're not going to know what Generation Z is talking about if you don't update your vocabulary. You start to sound antiquated, like dusty, which is also something else too. I'm not going to get into that, but if you're dusty. But if you take a look here, we say onboarding process. This is our onboarding process. We help you to enroll as an independent business owner. We plug you into the support system. Casey knows what dusty means. That's funny. We help you to participate in training. And then what do, guys? We help you, we lock arms with you and help you to start acquiring customers because you're in business for yourself and never by yourself. All right, what I'm showing you is the start of the reason why our qualifications are so high. So if you're saying, well, yeah, I know box 10, I get that. Well, if you don't have high qualifications, you're not getting it. So I want you to try to listen and see what I'm doing because this is important. So this is why it's easier. So like years ago, I asked the question, how can I make it easier for my new IBOs to qualify people where it doesn't have to be about a bunch of skill, but if they do some steps, they can qualify people. And I realized the goal wasn't important, it was the system. See, if I set up a system where anyone can really follow it and qualifications happen by default, then it doesn't have to be a skilled person. They just need to know the system and they can get the same result as someone else. And that was major. So, because if you try to qualify based on skill, guys, you got to be a ninja. All right. I learned the old school way based on skill. And I had to be a ninja and no one could do what I could do. There was only a few handful of people. Nakota could do it. I could do it. Dr. Belinda could do it. Remember Dr. B out. So Belinda, I taught her how to do it, but she's a doctor. Like she figured that out, but there weren't a lot of people that could do it. You had to handle objections. You had to learn how to take them high first and then bring them low and then all this weird stuff. And you could do it, but it was hard. It was hard. So we do it with the system. And here's the most brilliant part about it. Look, check this out. So if you look at this slide right here, this slide is our X factor for qualifications. This is a game changer. I know Victoria Hardy was one of our presentations recently from the bakery. I know Zoe Duffy was, and Zoe had a light bulb moment on this slide. She texted me afterwards. But it says, what category are you? And I've been using this since we got into the situation and we were all on here, okay? And this is what I'm talking about, guys. Focus with me. Focus, Daniel-san. Remember, you guys remember Mr. Miyagi? I'm gonna say this again. Mr. Miyagi, he said, Daniel-san, wax on or wax off. Daniel-san, paint the fence. Daniel-san, Mary Moulton. Mary-san, listen to me. Mary-san, paint the fence. Mary-san, sand the floor. Mary-san, a wax on, a wax off, right? And what happened? Daniel tried to do it his own way. And Mr. Miyagi hit his hand and he said, He wanted him to do it with correct form. Daniel wasn't listening because Daniel thought he knew there was another thing that was important because Daniel was a karate master, right? No, Daniel wasn't a karate master. Daniel had no idea. He was just making assumptions based on a lack of information that he knew what was important, right? And so Mr. Miyagi, after he made him clean his house for a very long time with perfect form, Daniel got upset at Mr. Miyagi, and it's the first time in the whole movie I've seen a kid curse, right? And he said, "This is bull," but he didn't. He said, "This is bull crap," but he didn't say that. He said something else. He said, "This tournament's coming up. I don't even know karate." And Mr. Miyagi said, Daniel-san, show me. Paint the fence. Show me. Sand the floor. Show me. A wax on, a wax off. And he showed him everything with correct form. And then out of nowhere, Mr. Miyagi came at him at full-blown attack. And Daniel-san was able to block everything because his master was teaching him what he needed to. But because it wasn't in the way that the student assumed, the student almost missed a lesson. Did you guys catch that? All right, so I'm gonna go back into what I'm doing. I hope you guys are paying attention. So it says, what category are you? And when we get to this point, here's what I say. I say, up until this point, so when we get to this point, 99% of the people that see this information fall into one of these three categories. So I need you to ask yourself, what category are you? Either you're a number 3, you're like my mom, you love the idea of saving money, but you also love the opportunity to support your friend or family member become a customer. We are grateful for you to become a customer. In fact, when you support your friend, you'll be helping feed a hungry child at the same time. So thank you so much. If you're number 3, I need you to remember that. If you're number 2, you're like me. You're interested, but you just have a few questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to help you with your questions to get them answered so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. And if you're a number 1, you're like Marie. She saw a video over lunch break, 10-minute video. It made sense. And here's what she said. She said, I trust my friend who's sharing this with me. And I know that if he can do it, I can do it. So I'm getting started. Guys, what I just said was important because later on, I can lean on that. What did I just say? I trusted my friend who showed this to me. And I realized that if he could do it, I can do it. And those aren't my words. That's exactly what Marie said when she joined the business. My friend's doing this. I trust him. And if he can do it, I can do it. So why do I say that? Because at the end, when someone says, well, I don't know, I can say, well, do you trust your friend? Are you guys getting this? And I'm sure you guys have a lot in common as friends. And if your friend can do it, don't you think you could do it too? Oh, do you guys see that, what I just did? Okay, Willie, you got this. I'm glad. Good. So why is it so important though? Because it's not just about number 1. Look at category. How many categories do you see, guys? 3. And guess what? Those are the three categories of human beings that see the business. And every one of those categories are important. You know what most people's presentations look like at the end? All they have is category 1 or get out of my face. That's how most people do their presentations. You category 1, oh, you're not? Well, you can leave now. Like, what? What are you talking about? They could have questions. They could want to be a customer. You leave so much money on the table. And so Jabri, I don't know if we were able to reach Zoe. Were you able to? Zoe, are you there? No? Okay. So Zoe, oh, you're there? Oh my gosh, she's sneaking at work, I promise you. I could tell. That's the sneak at work voice. If you've been at full-time in ACN, you've heard that voice a lot with IBOs. So I don't know if you could whisper or say it, but there was a light bulb moment you had when you saw box 1, 2, and 3. Do you mind sharing, because you saw a presentation we did the other day. Do you mind sharing what like kind of hit you?
So what I observed when I was on the presentation was that when they have all the people on.
What's that? I can't hear you. Oh, listen, I don't want to get you in trouble, Zoe. So here's what I'm going to do. Just text it, what you text me in the chat. What you sent me, just put it in the chat. But I appreciate you being a champ and sneaking on while you're at work.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, she's there. Okay, go ahead. Okay, she can't be. So, all right, we're gonna do it there. She's gonna put it in the chat. So what? As she puts it in the chat, what she realized she was leaving on the table is the number 3. And let's be honest, how many of you are leaving that that category on the table? Be honest. It's okay. You raise your hand. There was a time when I was, and so if you're leaving number 3 on the table, you know what you're doing. You're making it way too difficult to get qualified. See, a lot of you don't even. You're just thinking, oh, I'm just leaving customers on the table. No. Someone who wants to support someone's business and become a customer, they're not just becoming a customer, they're helping them with their qualifications. Do you get that, guys? Like, this is what makes it easy for my team to get people qualified. The reason why Marie and the group are getting so many people qualified is because they have people that are like, that night, Zoe was on and people were saying, oh, well, I'm a number 3. I'd love to support and become a customer. And that's what's happening. Did you guys see what Zoe just posted? And what people aren't realizing is when you leave number 3s on the table, then you have to become a ninja and be skilled at psychological warfare to get somebody qualified. It's not fun. It is not fun. Curtis, I know you know what I'm talking about. It is not fun. And you can do it. You were SVP in the other company. You could do it here, but it's not fun. And I'm gonna tell you another thing about having to do it the skillful way. People can feel like they're being manipulated. And they might get qualified, but they're gonna hate you. They're gonna hate you, especially as they grow and become a leader and realize that you didn't have to do it that way. There's always gonna be a doubt in their mind about your leadership if you're manipulative to get them qualified, right? And so what we found, it's just easier to do it this way. So we when we're done, when we find out category 1, category 2, and category 3, this is what we do. We go over 2 key points. So we vision cast, right? So we go over the timing, we go over the great resignation, all those things. After we do the 3 points and we vision cast, we talk about the credibility and all those things, the objections, major objections, the credibility, the time, the money. We talk about the bonus, extra bonuses on the table to reach a position called executive team leader. And then this is the big part. 7-day game plan. We do the recognition and the testimonials. And I talked about this, guys, before, but the reason why I'm talking about it again is because I don't think people realize that our testimonials are what allow us to get people qualified so easily later. It's the testimonials of people that followed the system and got paid, people that over and over again, I followed the system. I came from a different background, and here's what happened, and I got paid, and this person got paid, and that person did. And then when we finish up the entire presentation, we don't let people leave. What we do is we have everyone on the video, like I see all of you on right now in gallery mode, and we start to ask questions. So I pick the first person that I can see that's on the video who's positive. Okay, I need you guys to know this, leaders, you need to figure out how to work the gallery so that you can actually see, because some of you will go and just pick a random negative person and it'll ruin the rest of the presentation. And that's not what we're trying to do. So you want to look while you're presenting, or if you have a leader who's presenting, you want to look through the gallery and see who is nodding their head, who's smiling, who's happy, right? And that's the first person you're going to pick. And so you'll ask that person, you'll say, so Willie Cribb, I need to ask you a question. What did you like most about what you saw in the presentation? I'm very specific. What did you like the most about what you saw in the presentation? And here's the thing, people are on sometimes on autopilot. They're on this weird default. So you ask them a question and they'll start rambling and they're not answering the question. Matter of fact, this happened last night. They start rambling, blah, 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 and they're not answering the question. So you know what I do? I let them finish. And so imagine Willie was just blabbing, just blah, 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 blah. And I let Willie finish and I say, Willie, that's great. Willie, can I ask you a question? And he says, yes. And I say, what did you like the most about what you saw? I just repeat the question. And then people in their head, they go like this. Oh, well, I like the money. Or, oh, I like feeding hungry kids. Oh, I like residual income. They'll do that. It's the most, you have to keep a straight face because it's funny. It happens every time. Something clicks and it registers. Because people are used to being on autopilot their whole life. All right. So you got to break them out of that just by being nice. And then once Willie says, oh, I like the residual, I say, Willie, I love the residual. You know, that is so sharp that you picked that up, brother. I could tell why Marie invited you on tonight. And now he's like, yeah, man, I am smart, right? He's feeling good. And then I say, so Willie, let me ask you a question. Based on those categories that you saw there, do you see yourself leaning more towards? Now I use the words leaning more towards. That's purposeful. Why? Because people hate to make concrete decisions. I know that, you know that. So you leaning more towards 1, 2, or 3, Willie. And Willie says, I'm a number 3. You know what an amateur leader wants to do? Convince Willie to go from number 3 to signing up as an IBO, right? I don't care. Willie, listen, number 3s help us just as much. In fact, if all we got were number 1s, people who sign up, and we never got 3s, we would have all just paid $199 to be a part of like a members only club, and no one's getting paid. Because the only way you get paid is if customers are acquired. Is this true? So when Willie says he's a number 3, I get excited because I know someone new is about to get qualified. that hypes me up. So I'm like, Willie, oh man, I appreciate you for your support. I'm telling you, Marie is so thankful for you to become a customer. And you know what Marie is thinking as a new person? Oh my gosh, this really works. This really works. I'm not even doing anything. I'm just sitting here. Willie just said, yes, I'll support you. Wow, this is crazy. And now she has genuine excitement. And I say, okay, Daryl works directly with Marie, Willie. So what Daryl's going to do, he's going to take you offline and he's going to walk you through Marie's website so we can identify where you can support her at. Is that cool, Willie? Perfect. And so that night we had a bunch of number threes and and I think two number twos when two number twos when Zoe was on. And so we'll go through the process. So Curtis, what did you like the most about what you saw? Curtis says, the money, man. Listen, I'm a Porsche guy. I got my Porsche here and I'm doing an upgrade soon. The money. Show me the money, right? Mr. Curtis Evans. And so I said, perfect. I like the money too, man. It's good money working part-time with us. Let me ask you this question. Do you see yourself as a 1, 2, or 3? And then Curtis says, man, I'm a 1. I'm a 1. I said I like the money, sir. I'm a 1. And I say, great. And this is important. This is the last one. Okay, so you're number 1. What would be the only thing holding you back? What's the only thing, or what's the one thing holding you back from getting started today? I ask that question. Oftentimes people say, nothing. Is this true, Marie? Yes or no? Yeah. So people say, nothing. There's nothing holding me back. And I say, perfect. We're going to show you how to get the paperwork out of the way. Unofficially, welcome to the team. Unofficially, welcome to the team. And then we get him offline and we get him signed up. Okay. If he says, well, there's one thing. So I ask him what his one thing is. And he says, well, I just don't think I have time. And I say, Curtis, you know, I can understand where you're coming from because I was really busy. And you know what I love? This is designed for us, brother. It's designed for busy people. So what I don't do is handle his objection and say, well, yeah, you know, you don't really understand. It's not about time. No, I let him know that being busy is a good thing. Instead of me trying to handle an objection how most people do, I get on the same side of the table and say, no, that actually being busy is a great thing. You'll have more success because you're busy. And people are like, wait, what? And it changes and they get excited because it's a good fit. And so once I talk to him about that, I say, is that the only thing that was bothering you, Curtis? Or is that the only thing that was concerning you? Oh my gosh, that's it? You're gonna kill this thing. And then we get them offline and we get them enrolled. And so we get most of our qualifications done because of presentations. So we're not pulling teeth during a qualification session, trying to sit down with someone and go through services. Now, once we've gotten services through friends, it's so easy to tell somebody, because remember what I mentioned last week, we recruit for a recruit, right? So the person that was a number 2, it was his birthday. And he's like, I want to make $700 for my birthday. I was like, what? I like that. Let's get you started. So we're getting him started, I think today. Is it today, Murray? Okay, I don't know what that means. So we're going to start that day, this day that she just did. So what's great is because that's a recruit for a recruit, and because we got customers acquired, I can go to the new person and say, hey, look, you're this close to earning $700. Let's get you ID seal right now. And let's get you, and then whatever else is really easy to get. Okay. And what I mean by easy is it's not complicated. The mistake I see people make is because Flash Wireless is a lot of points, they try to get a brand new person Flash Wireless first. It is the most complex customer acquisition process out of all the services. So you know what you just did? You just psychologically got this person to think becoming a customer of everything is going to be hard. Don't do that. Get them something simple. Get them something simple. And what will happen is that they'll be like, oh, wow, that wasn't bad at all. Let's do the next one. But if you start with the hard one, they're going to say, oh, Mr. Thomas, that was a lot of work. Oh, I'm going to call it a day for today. Let's pick this up tomorrow. And now they run and you'll never see them again. So I hope this helps you guys. Really, qualifications. I know it seemed like, oh, well, I thought you were going to talk about the language. Well, I just did. And what I'm sharing with you is like Daniel's son. The reason our qualifications are so high is because of that process that I just showed you. That process reveals people who want to become customers. And then at the end, we hold them accountable and we help them to become a customer. And if you guys can start to do that in your process, then it'll make it easier for someone to get themselves as an IDCO customer or anything simple, because they know that $700 is coming. They can see it because they can already see the wheels in motion. Someone signed up. They got services that are already, they got customers. Everything that you said, their confidence in you as a leader is growing because you're showing them how simple the process is. So Mr. Baker, shout out to you. I know he wanted me to talk a little bit about that. So I hope that gives you guys some something to run with. Mr. Thomas, I will turn the call back over to you, sir.